All right, guys. Thanks everybody for coming out again. Hopefully the first week went well. I'm gonna run over some mechanical things here real quick. 3 quick plays, and then Dave will do his 5, and we'll get you guys out of here. And if anybody has any funky things that happen, there's been a couple really oddball plays that we're going to show you today. But feel free to chime in at any time and just say, "I got a play we want to discuss." Dave Spalding just discussed one that's really good about flopping, when to kill it, and because we can all learn from that stuff. It's all about seeing it a few times, as we all know, and then you really can't get it down until it happens to you a couple times. Good. Make sure everybody mutes too. Thanks. Okay. Uh, One thing that did happen is the starters. So at the beginning of the game, at the 10-minute mark, we come out and somebody runs the table and checks both rosters, right? All we care about is the visiting team's roster, 5 starters, home team's roster, 5 starters, can be on the flyer that they brought, they picked up at the door, can be on a piece of paper, can be in their scorebook. It does not matter where it's located. We just have to get one from each team. Once we do that, sign off on them and walk away. And the whole transfer from the visiting team's book to the official book is all clerical errors that we could care less about. If there's any issues with those, the first thing you have to ask is it the home team or the away team? Where did you get the numbers from? Right? If 90% of the time it does come from the visiting team's scorebook, but you have to make sure you get that roster when there is an issue or discrepancy and look at it. And if that visiting team's roster and 5 starters is correct, it's nothing. And if the home team's roster is correct, it's nothing. Where we can have issues is when they transfer those from their visiting team's book to the official book, and all that is a clerical error. That's why it's important you go over there to ask. I need the visiting team's roster. So what happened the other day was somebody marks the wrong starter, okay, and they don't catch it. It's at past the 10-minute mark. Now we're ready to start, and 5 comes out, and they have 4 marked. So obviously the visiting team is like, hey, we were planning on 4 coming out. He's their best player or whatever. Well, then they realize, oh, okay, we made a mistake, right? We checked off the wrong number. Now the next question you have to ask, in this case, it'd be the home team, is why did you do that starter? Is number 4 sick or injured? And if he is, it's a play on, right? 5 is going to start, no penalty. If he says, my assistant just screwed up and checked the wrong number, then it would be 2 technicals thrown at the division line or the 28-foot mark. Now, where it gets a little sticky is when we catch that, right? So the book specifically says, and I can read it real quick. Obviously, if you go to 10.1, Article 2, after the 10-minute mark, uh, change the designated starter unless stated as Rule 322A, which is injured or sick. Add a name to the team list. Require the scorer to change team numbers or player's number. Require a player to change the number in the scorebook, or if we have identical numbers. All right. A little acronym for that, but I can't think of it now. But anyways, if both teams violate provision Article 2 and equal numbers, the penalties are charged and they offset. Article 2A, penalize if discovered before the ball becomes live to start the game. So in the 5-starter one, the other 3 we don't care about, right? We just penalize them when they occur, because we may not catch that 5 is not in the book, right? As of just a regular old player, when he comes in the third quarter, he's not in the book. That's when we would get it. But in this scenario, if we do not catch, the visiting team does not catch it, or the home team doesn't catch this, that they had the wrong starter marked, and the ball becomes live, it's too late to penalize. So just remember that one. All right. Uh,
Okay, so welcome to the 5 play Sunday, and the first play, let's take a look at it. Okay, this is one of the, I emphasize a lot of times jump balls, and a lot of people, myself included, used to be this way that we just kind of forget about jump balls. It happens, once a game, maybe twice if we have an overtime, or rare cases, 3 or 4 times. But we tend to forget some principles of the jump ball. So I just want to emphasize how important it is, because you get into a big game and it goes into overtime, and you mess up a jump ball, it can change the outcome of a close game. So just look at this here and see what you observe. What is the call on this? Okay, so the U2 comes in and they're going to take the ball out. So they give it to Black. All right, so let's back it up again. Let's look at it in slow motion. Okay, the jump goes up. Does anybody touch it? Right there. Looks like nobody touches it there. Here comes the tricky part right here. As it's coming down, we don't know if the player touches it coming down. Okay, so we've got to make some assumptions here. And I thought this was a good play. They called a violation on White. Okay, can somebody tell me what violation White could have committed on this that would have caused it to be a violation on the White team?
The jumper can only tap the ball twice, according to the book, if I believe I'm reading it correctly,
That's
and
right.
then they cannot possess it. They have to tap it out to somebody else if they touched it before it came down, as you said.
Yeah, now,
The tapper, it has to touch somebody else out of there, or hit the floor outside there before the tapper can go get it.
okay, so we're thinking that this is a violation on White because even if he, all right, so let's say
It,
he didn't touch it. Okay.
yeah, if he didn't touch it, that's what you can't tell, Dave.
Yeah, let's go with he didn't touch it, so we can just cover that for someone who might not be aware of this. If no one touches the ball on the initial throw, you have to toss it again. And we don't know if he touched it or not, but apparently there was a violation, so we're going to have to go with that he touched it. Now, what does the rule book say about jump balls? What does it say? When does a jump ball begin? The jump ball begins when the ball leaves the tossing official's hand. Okay, so, and then by rule here, and it's going to come up in just a second, and before we get to the rule, so if there was a jump ball violation, where should the ball be taken out of bounds?
I'd say 28-foot mark.
Yeah, that's what I think too. And if I'm wrong and someone has the rules to back that up, please let me know. But I think it's the 28-foot mark as well. Um, and it makes sense because just like a backcourt violation, same type of thing. I mean, there's always exceptions and stuff, but I think the 28-foot mark makes sense on this. And so he's kind of close to it, so no big deal there. Now, the thing I want to point out here is this right here. Here's the rule. Okay, look at the section 28 on a jump ball. The jump ball begins when the ball leaves the official hands and ends when the touch ball contacts a non-jumper, an official, or the floor. I haven't seen anything in the rule book that says it has to be outside the circle. And if there is, I just haven't seen it, and that could be the case. But I think that's in this case, I think the official that made the call on that may have gotten this one wrong, in the sense that that was not a violation if he did touch it. So as soon as the ball hits the floor, it's game on. There's nothing in the rule book, unless if someone can dig that out, I'd like to see it.
No, I meant the floor.
Yeah, and that's a common misconception, because I see that if you type in on Chat GBT and stuff like that, that comes up sometimes. I've actually seen that. So it's an interesting, and nobody in the gym is going to argue that call, because that looks like there was a violation. But in reality, if he did touch it, it hits the floor. the jump ball is ended, so all restrictions on everyone at that point ends as far as the jump ball is concerned. And so it's a free ball for anyone to grab at that point, even if it hit inside the circle. So I just thought that was a good one to look at and talk about. Any other insight from anyone on that play?
The only thing I would add too, Dave, is Article 647 says touch the toss ball before it reaches the highest point. We want to get it up higher, right? Most of these kids are jumping it because we don't throw it high enough.
Yep.
Leave the center circle until the ball has been touched. Catch the ball before the jump ball ends. Touch the ball more than twice, like Dave said. But the big one is leave the center restraining circle until the ball has been touched. A lot of guys will come in and say, hold your spot. There's no reason to. You don't need to say that. It's like a myth, right? Like everybody off that circle can do whatever they want at any time, and anybody leave the center circle until the ball is spot. So that's where you could say, you can't. Nobody would, but you could say you can't leave, right? So it's important to know that there's nothing to do with holding your spots. All right, they just can't leave the center restraining circle until the ball has been touched. So just remember that one. All right.
So what did we say if the ball hits the floor without being touched?
Re-jump it.
Yeah, you re-jump it.
That's what I'm reading it. I'm like, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Yep.
Good stuff.
And and the thing is, on that particular play, let me just back it up and just show you. We're nitpicking a lot of stuff here, but let's talk about some stuff that was good on this. I mean, the official comes in. Look at the toss. This is an excellent toss. I mean, look at the height of the toss. I mean, you don't want them. You don't want them to quick jump you. So I mean, these guys just didn't jump quite high enough. I mean, that happens sometimes. It's better to have it too high than too low. And look what the U1 does by the table there. Look what he does after they decide there's a violation. He goes and checks in with the table, and I'm going to assume he's saying, hey, the possession arrow goes this way, and making sure they're clear on what the call was. And that's good officiating there, just making sure the table is in the know.
David, go back to the beginning and tell me what you think about the two guys opposite and how they're jockeying for position. Would you allow that?
The two guys right in, let me see here, make sure I'm getting it right.
Black 5.
Right here,
Yes.
right here. Yeah. If they're within 3 feet, if they're 3 feet away from the circle, then they got a lot more leeway with jockeying. If they're on the circle, I would certainly not let them. If they're within 3 feet of that circle, you can't have legs in between like that. That would not. You can't do that. That's in that kind of a little bit of a gray area, and so if you got to turn, is that 3 feet? If they're 3 feet beyond, outside the circle, then they're just a regular player out there doing whatever. You could say something because that's pretty close. Hey, knock it off. Whether I'm watching, So yeah, great. It's a great pickup, Dave. Once again, if they're on the circle, if they're trying to do that with their legs, that you can't let that happen. That's a no-go. And they're not really pushing and shoving, but you can't step in front of them like that on the circle, and you can see their legs are crossed.
Everybody's entitled to a spot on that floor, and we talk about in the foul line, he said we will, put your arm in there and kind of go up and down and say, hey, don't be crossing over. Kind of the same concept there, right? Spread them apart and say, guys, each one you get your own spots. You can't be on top of each other. And then I would just add to Rule 6.3, Article 2, when the official is ready and until the ball is tossed, non-jumpers shall not move on to the center restraining circle within 3 feet, like Dave said, change positions around the center circle. So that's when you say hold your spots, we're really talking about the center circle. So I would maybe take that out if you're a guy that says hold your spots, because everybody off the circle can. The only thing they can't do is, like I said earlier, move on to the center restraining circle. But they can actually move off of it, right? Like we can't stop them from moving off it, or anybody that's not on it within 3 feet of moving around. So, all right.
All right, so let's go on to play number 2. Okay, so this is a 2-part series of plays here, so I'm going to play them both through. I'm not going to really say anything, and then we're going to go back and break it down. But just take a look. One thing to look at is look at some of the habits of the officials taking the ball out of bounds. Like right there, what do you notice the official doing? Just the little habits of good officiating. He's coming off of a timeout. Okay, then we get a foul. Which would be expected in this when the team is down. Now we got another play that's here, so I'm gonna play this one through and just keep a good eye on the lead official here. There'll probably be some stuff you're not understanding about this right now, but it'll make a little more sense as we break it down. Okay, so he's going to put the ball in play. And we also have to know, just think, what could happen here. Look at the score. It's 47-45. We know it's a close ball game. What team is down? The team on, the dark team is down. They're down by 2 points. So we know they're not in the bonus yet. So they know they're going to maybe be real aggressive, try to get a steal potentially. And if they don't get a steal, they're probably going to have to foul at some point here fairly quick, even though they're only down by 2. So there's a lot of ball game left here. And just knowing what the situation is before the ball's inbounded really doesn't mean we know what's going to happen, but we can be prepared for certain things to possibly happen. Okay, another ball out of bounds. And then we get a timeout coming up. I'm going to skip through the timeout. And we're going to fast forward real quick. Timeout's coming to an end. Keep an eye on the official taking the ball out of bounds. So he's got a question for his partner. And then we get a foul here. Okay, so let's back this all the way back up to the first play. Okay, so what did you guys notice? The official taking the ball out of bounds, you can't see it very good here, but what's he doing with his hand? Oh, we missed it already. I think he already did it. Back it up one more time. Yeah,
He's signaling that they can run the baseline.
Exactly. And one of the habits that really helps officials is that if whoever calls a timeout, it's good for them to look at who's taking the ball out of bounds and signal to them as well that it's a baseline run or it's not. It's just one way to verify, because sometimes I've done this. That's why I'm saying this. Sometimes we fall asleep taking the ball out of bounds and we forget is it base, can they run the baseline or not? And in this case, it's a tight ball game, and he's letting everybody know you got baseline. Okay. So they come in, and you're seeing these kind of plays like this more and more. I mean, it's been around for a while. It's nothing that hasn't been seen before, but where they put all 5 players out of bounds. And they inbound the ball, and they get a foul. Okay, so they go down. This didn't really affect the game. Everything moved on just fine. So let's move into the second play of this sequence, and ball goes out of bounds. Official points direction. Now look at the head coach on this. What's he telling his team right here? Look at the head coach on the red team. He's down once again, knowing the situation. It's a 2-point game.
Foul.
Yeah, we're going to foul. He's probably not saying going to foul right away, but we're going to have to foul if we can't get the ball. And they probably practice this. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, 'cause I don't know the coach, but we know that that's most likely he's signaling we're going to have to foul. We got to get the ball back. And Once again, they're not in the bonus, so they can be aggressive. You wouldn't want to just foul for the sake of fouling. You want to, if you're going to waste a foul here, you're going to want to waste it on trying to get a good steal and save a foul if you know, get a quick basket if you can. So now when the ball's inbounded, nothing big happens here. I'm just going to go through this part. Okay, the ball is
If
knocked out of bounds.
the official indicated that it was on the spot and that they couldn't run the
Exactly.
baseline.
He's got good habits with that. Exactly, Barb.
Yep.
Every time he
Very good
checks it
hand
out.
signal.
Yep. Now watch him again here as he comes over. What does he do right away? Watch the official. He's pointing. You know, and then I cut it off there because I went to timeout, but he was pointing once again that it's a spot throw-in. So he's talking to the official again. We talked about this already. Now, does anybody see anything wrong with what's going on right now?
Spot throwing, only the thrower can be out of bounds.
Absolutely. So
Can't run a 5-out on that play on the spot throw in.
Exactly. Now the officials didn't, you know, they didn't pick up on it. So both of them, you know, the story that was told with me that the officials got together to talk about where to throw the ball and who to give it to, which one of the five to give it to, and they didn't realize that, you know, the official taking the ball out of bounds, he knew it was a spot throw in because he signaled that, so that, you know, it was clear it was, you know, out of bounds, and so this is a close ball game, 47-45, and it should be Black's ball. When do you call the violation?
Right away.
As soon as the thrower has the ball.
Yep,
at
once
his
the throw-in
disposal.
begins. Yep, as soon as he has it at his disposal, boom. Right now that's illegal. So we call it. It's not our job to coach the kids to, hey, you can't do that. Get on the court. We just, you know, the coach designed this play. Obviously, it's not our job to, you know, take a play away from a coach and try to save him a turnover. No, we got to let it play out. As soon as we hand the ball, we whistle it, violation, and explain to the coach that on a spot throw-in, you cannot have but one player take the ball out of bounds, period, or it's a violation. That's what happened here. And so
when would you draw the line with, you know, preventive officiating or giving them a chance to, you know, you look at them again and say it is a spot throw-in, but, you know, on one hand, if you told them straight away, it'd be giving an advantage to that team to remedy it. But
you point to, I don't think you really, all you can do is just reemphasize this is a spot throw-in. You don't go to all five players for that. You just, once again, emphasizes are coming onto the court. This is a spot throw-in, and they have to know that. It's not your responsibility to, you know, that's a coaching error at that point, and they got to live and die by if the official picks up on it and it costs them a turnover, then so be it. But yeah, that's a good question. I mean, at a middle school game, maybe, you know, you might give a little more leeway on something. Kids just confused and the coach didn't really set the play up or something. And, you know, you got two kids taking the ball out of bounds, not realizing that you can only have one on a spot throw in to tell the other player to get back on the court. But in a game like this, you just emphasize spot throwing when they're coming and, you know, let the chips fall where they may. I just thought this was a good play to learn from. And as a reminder that we always need to know, is it a spot throw-in coming off of a timeout, or is it, you know, can they run the baseline? Because there's different sets of rules. It's the little things like that, you know, can determine how good a game ends or doesn't end. And then right here, once again, it's in the book. Go to Article 11 here. No teammate of the thrower shall be out of bounds after a designated spot throw-in. So it's, you know, it's in the rule book, and knowing it and being able to explain to coaches, you know, if they question you on that, knowing, you know, you don't have to cite the reference in the book verbatim, but just knowing the understanding that how to explain it is a violation. Before we move on to the next play, any questions on that? Any other insight?
Yeah, that was my game the other night.
Was it?
I just
give us
joined
some
the
insight.
meeting.
Yeah. Just so were you guys were you guys talking about where the ball gets taken out?
No, you know what? Everything was happening pretty quickly, and I know Elmer, who's the official at the end line, he come over and I was almost looking past them because I was looking at the bodies. And he said, apparently he told me, or he asked me if they could do it. And I just was focused on the thrower. I said, just give it to the guy that just lined up the first time.
Right.
And, you know, we really never thought about it until the next day. And someone kindly, you know, pointed it out to me. And we looked it up. And I said, you know, that is the first time in 17 years that I've had that anybody line up
Yep.
that way outside of a made basket. And nobody had ever done it, obviously, on a spot throw in. And we got a good chuckle out of it, but we did our research with the
Yeah.
help of Jan.
Yeah.
And you know, we kicked it.
And it happened.
Nothing we're nothing that we're proud of, but and then we even got proactive because we got a pretty good relationship with Charlevoix, and I'm going to send something to the AD. You might want to let your coach read the rules on this particular play. And but we had a discussion. Jan and I had a discussion. I said, okay, when did you kill it? And you guys already answered that as soon as you handed it in. So yeah, it was a big learning deal, and we got a kick out of it on one hand, and then now looking back at the scenario and the time that was going on, because Ellsworth actually was winning the game almost the entire game. They gave up the lead very late. In that scenario, they would have got the ball under the basket with a really good chance to tie the game. And plus, their better player, he fouled out, but they were 5 legitimate fouls. He wasn't very smart with his fouls, but it definitely could have been a different outcome, and that's kind of a bummer on our part.
Yeah, Dan, thanks for sharing that. And yeah, this is the thing. We want to learn from other people's mistakes when we can, and it's really helpful to see it live like this, and especially have an official that was, part of the game tell us, how it went down. So thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem. I'm sorry I got late. I was filling something out online and totally lost track of time here. And then I said, I better jump in, and there we are. I was like, oh shit. So I'll let the guys know. So that was
All
good.
right.
But I mean, the videos they're great. They're all learning tools. And hey, I finally made a video.
All right. So we had another play coming up here. Take a look at this here. Classic block charge play. All right, everybody see that? Let's back it up again. Who should probably make this call?
Center. Good luck.
The lead.
Yeah, it should probably be the lead call here. Now, this is the thing that when you break this down, the defender is coming from who's primary?
Lead.
In the lead. So now let's just stop it right here for a second and let's take a look at kind of where we are in this transition. The C over here's got a pretty good view right there. I mean, you always want to, the lead's probably following the ball at this point, because when you back it up, you're going to, the C should be following that ball from the center of the court on through. And so now let's see what happens when we slow this down. Yeah, I mean, this is a tough. We slow this down. Did he ever establish legal guarding position? 2 feet on the floor facing the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like he does there.
Not airborne yet.
He's not airborne. In college, it'd be a different story because he got 1 foot off the ground, but this isn't college. And then what do we have happen here? We got the lead makes the call. And what's the C doing? It's hard to see, but look over at the C. Everybody see what we got? Yeah, we got a double whistle, and we got the classic Blarge play. Now, on this particular play, because I'm in this game too, the only thing could have topped us off better had I come in with a foul too, so we all three could have gotten in on this here. But but we got a double whistle, and the lesson that'll be learned on this is it's okay to have a double whistle. Those happen because this, the C had a good look at it, and it's not like C was totally stacked and couldn't see anything, and the C was following the ball coming in. Is that when you're on the outside, if you're the C position or in the trail, if you're going to call it, give that lead first crack at it. So just you can post the call if you want. Ideally, you just hesitate, give them first crack, and then come in with a cadence whistle if they don't get it. But just hold it. Just let it breathe for a second, and then decide. Look at the lead, see if he has anything, because we've got. Look at the C. We got a we got 2 calls now. If a coach is out there complaining, now in this case, nobody have said a word. No one even noticed that we had a double whistle on that and a block charge, and heard no complaints. And I wouldn't have known except Keegan mentioned it to me after, during one of our dead ball timeouts or something. And so it's be patient. The lead is the play's coming right at the lead. They get excited. I know I do when it's there's a crash in bodies at the lead position. They're going to be quick because it's coming right at them. Just let it breathe. And what should the lead do on this? They shouldn't give their call away either. They should post it and look and see if someone else has a whistle, just so it doesn't look bad. It's hard to do, easy to talk about doing it, but that's one of the things when you're working games. Always just try to be patient if you're calling it from the C. Give the lead first crack at it, even if it was in your, even if you had a better look, to avoid the double whistle or the block charge call. Because now, let's put on our thinking caps here and do a what if scenario. Okay, so let's say the coach complains, hey, your partner had a block and your other partner had a charge. Cause you can't have that. So by rule, what do we call this? It's a blarge. I don't know if that's an official term in the book or not, but it's been I've seen it in print. And so you have to go with what call at this point. If the coach really got mad, if both coaches are getting upset, or one of them is getting upset, and I mean, this is simultaneous. Look at our call. Hands go up at the same time. Our C goes block, and we got a charge. So what would happen if that ball goes in and we go with, if we play this out? Let's say we play it out. Let's say the coach is complaining and we have to go with a Blarge call, and that basket goes in. Who wants to sort this out for me? It doesn't go in this case, so this is a what if, and we go with a Blarge call. Let's talk about, first of all, let's go with what would happen on the missed shot. Let's say we went with a Blarge. Okay. How do we sort
Double
it out?
foul.
Double foul, yep.
And then you'd resume play
Point of interruption
on a double foul, which
Yep.
if the tries miss, there's no team control. So go to the arrow.
So you go to the arrow, exactly. Exactly. It's just a double foul. The same rules apply. So just think of it as double foul. Now, what happens if it's a Blarge call and the basket goes in here?
It's a double foul, point of interruption, and the point of interruption is a made goal.
Yes, the
So
basket
will
counts.
be awarded to the defensive team as after any made basket.
Exactly, because what 99 times out of 100, most people think because we had they think that is a charge. It's not we don't have a player control foul now. It's a double foul. So the ball does not become dead on the shot. That happens on a player control foul, not on a double foul. So that basket would actually count. Point of interruption would be the made basket, which Dave explained. I think it was Dave explained it beautifully. So that's just one of those things that we may never ever see this in our lifetime in our game, where it actually goes in and we actually go with a Blarge, and we have to go with it because we got complaining coaches but that's, the basket does count. But intuitively, what do we think? No, it can't count because we have a player control foul with a charge, but it's not, because it becomes a double foul. I thought that was just a good little tidbit that gets overlooked because it just never happens. If it does, it's very rare.
The reason why I knew that is because I've had one.
Oh, geez.
I'd love to say that you could go through a career without having a Blarge, but I have had one.
And did you get into did when the basket goes in, did you get the call right at that time? Did you know it? Oh,
Yes, we did.
sweet. Yeah, I mean, that's not, I mean, that's the one that you're never really ready for. And then you got to just slow down, get together with the crew and talk it through. And somebody between the three brilliant minds doing that game come up with all the information we can and make the best call based on the information that we know and have. So it does happen, just rare. Okay, so now
And 419.8 situation C is that play exactly. So if there's ever questions, you can refer to that for a coach.
yep,
Thanks, Matt.
419A situation C is exactly it. It's in the case book. All right, so let's take a look at this play right here. Gonna have a 3-point shot come up. Okay, so probably hard to tell live like that on the first time through. So I'll go through slow motion here. And let's just talk about good habits of officiating. Let's look at our trail here. Dropping down. Player stepping out for the 3-point shot. Now, right here as he's going up to shoot, what should the trail think about doing right now? And even the C for that matter. They should step down, start stepping down, because on rebound action, you want to step down. You don't want to step away from the play. And we're stepping away. Doesn't mean he didn't have a decent look at this, but is this a flop? Is this a foul? Is this a good no call?
The shooter's got to be able to land. And the trail he goes with the ball. It doesn't stay with the play.
Does the defender step on the shooter's foot there? I was
You
trying to,
nailed it, Barb. That's exactly what happened. So
yeah,
the point of this is that if you step down on this, if the trail steps down and gets a better look at this. So if you got to start moving down. If he steps down as he receives the ball and starts going for the shot, steps down and then starts looking in this way, you'll see that he steps on his foot, and that's what and that's a foul. I mean, you gotta make that call. You got to see that if you can. It's hard sometimes, but we're asked to do a lot of stuff, and but you got to
He
come up and make that call. Why? You can see
he
it here. Watching
he
land.
didn't get this. See where his eyes are right now?
Yeah, yeah, he's got to be
Like
down.
that
You
shooter's
gotta.
not on the floor yet. His eyes should not be up.
Yeah.
Need to get the shooter to the floor.
Yeah, yep. He's got, and so you can see his ankle rolls almost, and you can see it hits there. He turns to the side, and then he slips off. And then the official's shaking his head. No, no, no. You got nothing. The player's looking at him. Come on, and you could back. No, just watch this live now. Watch it. Watch the official. He thinks he saw that it really wasn't a foul, but he missed the foot. I mean, there was no contact on the shooter as far as the hand goes. He just couldn't land. He's shaking his head no. But that player knew he was fouled because he didn't have room to land.
Just
Anybody have-
another real quick, Dave. Just another
Yeah.
good example too. When we talk about sequencing all the time, right? Start, develop, finish. Well, here's a good example of shooter up, shooter down, rebound. Just you got to say to yourself, self-talk, shooter up, shooter down, rebound. Because if you don't see that where he lands, you probably got a flop here.
Yeah, yeah. This almost looks like a flop, like it could be a flop.
Yeah. So
Yeah, if you're stepping down and can see through, get that see-through look better. And like I say, it's just one or two steps can give you a whole different perspective and catch that call. Any more questions on that one? All right, let's look at play number 5. It's the end of a game, close ball game.
oh, geez.
And the reason why I show this is, these are the little things once again. Did anybody see a foul on this? First of all, do you think the officials did a good job on this? No call? Let's just.
Ooh.
I mean, the official out top is signaling that it was a block, or
Yeah, and we don't want to do that. This is a perfect example of why we don't show the tip sign on these plays, because if your partner in the lead's got a foul,
yeah.
you got some explaining to do.
Yep.
And so a lot of guys do it. I know, but the tip is only for tip out of bounds or something like that, or over
Backcourt.
violation, backcourt violation. It's not for I had no contact.
Yep. And so, I think it's a good. He gets ball right here. He's got ball. I don't see anybody all over his arms. I mean, you could maybe say he pushed him a little bit here. First thing, watch 3 on White. He bodies him maybe a little bit there. You could maybe call that, but I'm guessing they let that kind of play go all game because these are some athletes out here, so I don't think anybody's expecting that to be called. But now the reason why I showed this, not because of the official, decision making here. I understand why they didn't have a call on that. I get that. But watch what happens at the end of the game. And this is a reminder to us all. When the game ends, what is our job as officials? Look at the official here who did the block call. Let's look at him real quick, just make sure everybody can see who I'm talking about. This official right here. What does he do when this game, when the game ends?
They all run.
He looks at the table. See his head? He looks at the table, make sure they're not waving anybody over. You always, because here's what you have to remember. If you leave the confines of the court, you can't come back and fix anything at that point. So if there's if the score, if there's an error, there's something needs to be taken care of before you leave the court, you got to make sure everything is good with the table. Now, this was clearly an intense game. And so the trail official looks at the table after he signals that it was a block, ball was tipped, and look at the lead official. Look down low. Look down low here. He's got a fan telling him, "Great job of officiating out there." I'm pretty sure that's what he was telling him. What do you think? You got 2 fans right up on this official. Now, this guy clearly has been around the block a few times down on the lead. He walks fast. He doesn't engage. The worst thing you can do is say something to a fan who's clearly not in the mood to hear anything. And he gets off, and then what does the trail do? The trail hustles off. And just a good, you got to make sure the game is officially ended. So you have to check in with the table. But once you know the game is over, there's nothing good going to come being slow getting off the court. And so these officials hustled off. They're not sprinting like they're afraid or anything, but it's all about business. Let's get off the court. And this looked pretty intense. And when you really break it down, look at these 2 coming down low that came after the lead official. And he's yelling pointing at him. And then somebody comes in right behind and kind of makes sure that guy doesn't go any further than right there. And you got other people running in. I mean, that's why you exit off the court immediately once you know the game is over. Anybody else have any insight? Anybody been in situations that they can share and add any insight on this?
It's a good idea in a game like this, 1 point game, when you know the whole place is heated and intense. Surely there's been a timeout late in this game to go talk to the table, make sure they don't have any issues, so that you can give them one look.
Yep.
In this instance, give them a thumbs up, etc., so that you can get off the floor.
Yep. Yeah. Great insight, Dave. Yeah. Just being proactive and knowing that you're going to reminding them you're going to give a quick look, and you've already checked and made sure up to that point that there's no baggage being carried over that we're going to have to delay getting off the court, and just give them that one last thumbs up and get off the court. Anybody else have anything? All right, we're going to go into one bonus play here. Attention to detail. Okay, so we're shooting a free throw. Standard procedure. Ball's taken out of bounds. All right, let's back that up. This is just very good fishing. I mean, how many times have you seen the trail official when the ball's being taken out of bounds? As soon as the ball's passed in, number one, step onto the court and forget about the inbounder. Okay, so remember the rule is what? You have to have something in with nothing out to establish, inbound status. Now the trail officials, look where the eyes of the trail official is. He's looking straight at the player. He's looking at everything. He hasn't stepped, he hasn't lost his angle. He's done everything. He's staying with it, staying with it. And is his foot still out of bounds? Yes. Is his lead foot inbounds? He got nothing inbounds, still got something out of bounds. He's not touching the ball as far as I can see right now, so no violation. His foot still out of bounds. Looks like he's touching the ball right now. Is his foot out of bounds? Then he lifts it. Everybody see that? I don't know how good it's streaming for you, but right there he has it in his hands and he lifts his foot from out of bounds. Doesn't matter if his front foot was inbounds or not. That's a great catch because the trail official is looking at what he's supposed to be looking at. He's not assuming anything. This is early in a game, and just staying with the play. I mean, that is close. And once again, if you're not 100%, then you pass on something like that. But there's no doubt in my mind that this official was 100% on this call. I mean, didn't hesitate. His eyes are in the right spot, and nailed it. That's close. But so just a reminder not to get in too big a hurry when you're taking the ball out of bounds like that and lose a good angle and forget the person taking the ball out of bounds can step in. And actually, I have one of me missing one that was about equally as close as that I went and looked at immediately last year, and is a good example of how to miss it because I lost focus just for a split second. But the official here stays focused and gets this very close play. And I don't think anybody was going to argue with him because he sold it well. Any questions on anything? All right, I appreciate everyone coming in. Don, you got anything else?
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming out. 7:59, so we're right on the hour mark. We're gonna try to keep these to about an hour. We're gonna skip next week. There's a NSOA meeting. If you can attend that, the 14th, next Sunday at 7, and we'll be back the 21st before the break for one, and then we'll take a couple weeks off, obviously through break, and start up that first Sunday in January, which I believe is like probably the 11th. I think we'll probably skip the 4th too. So hopefully we'll see everybody in a couple weeks. Just one last thing, I did remember the acronym for the pregame before the 10-minute mark, and it's cards. If you can remember this, make any changes, additions, roster, duplicates, and starters. Those are the 5 things we're looking for technical fouls in regards to administrative with the book. Just a little hack there, the acronym cards.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Dave.
You bet.
Thanks, guys. Good job.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. Thanks. Take care.